Welcome to Future Recapped. Today's video is about a horror and drama movie called Annihilation. The opening scene begins with a lady named Lena, where the lab researchers are interrogating her inside the chamber. They are questioning Lena about the food she ate during her 4-month confinement, but she does not recall it. She claims she stayed for a few days or weeks. They then inquire about the rest of her team members, Josie Roddick, Cass Shepard, Anya Thorenson, and Ventress, but she has no information. Finally, the researcher asks, "What do you know?" Lena begins to respond, and the film shifts to the past, where Lena is delivering a biology lecture to her students about cell division and its origin. Lena returns home and sobs in memory of her husband Kane, who is in the army and hasn't returned home in over a year. She then begins painting her bedroom, and Kane soon appears. She is overjoyed to see him and tightly hugs him, but Kane behaves differently. After a while, Lena asks Kane several questions. She asks him where he was for such a long time, or if he was on a secret mission. But Kane looks confused and doesn't respond to any of her questions. Lena then inquires about how he returned, to which Kane responds, "I was outside the room and saw the door open." When Lena notices blood in Kane's glass after drinking water, she rushes him to the hospital. As they travel in an ambulance, the police cars block their path and take Kane. Lena tries to stop them, but the cop injects her sedative, rendering her unconscious. Lena then awakens in Area X, where she is approached by Dr. Ventress, the head of the Southern Reach, who introduces herself as a psychologist. Lena served in the military for 7 years, according to Ventress. Lena inquires about her husband, but Ventress dismisses her. Ventress then asks about her husband's mission and how he returned, but Lena is oblivious. Ventress informs Lena of her husband's multiple organ failure and massive internal bleeding. Ventress tells her that a lighthouse was engulfed by something known as the Shimmer. She says that many people went inside to investigate but that no one returned except her husband. Its boundaries are expanding, and if it is not stopped, it will engulf all cities, states, and so on. As night falls, Lena recalls happy memories with her husband when Anya approaches her. Anya introduces Lena to two of her friends, Josie and Cass. Cass introduces herself as a geographer. Anya claims to be a paramedic from Chicago. Josie introduces herself as a postdoctoral physicist from Cambridge. Finally, Lena introduces herself as a Johns Hopkins biologist. Lena does not tell them about Kane or her relationship with him while talking. Lena then discovers that they will soon be entering the Shimmer with Ventress's team leader. The next day, Lena approaches Ventress and expresses her desire to accompany them inside. The film returns to the present day, where the same lab researcher is inquiring about Lena. Lena continues as the researcher applauds her brave decision to go inside. In the next scene, all 5 are suited up and walking towards the Shimmer with guns in their hands. They enter the Shimmer and, to their surprise, wake up in a tent 3 or 4 days later. They have no recollection of what happened in the interim. They notice that their navigation and signaling devices are no longer functional. Then, with the help of the sun and time, they all walk towards their destination. They eventually arrive at a swamp, where they notice different species of flowers growing from the same branch, which Lena interprets as a mutation process. Roddick investigates the small hut, but an animal drags her into the water. Everyone rushes to her assistance and successfully pulls her out. A few moments later, they notice a massive crocodile charging towards them. Lena shoots the crocodile to death with her army skills. Lena then examines the crocodile's mouth and discovers shark-like teeth, but neither understands how this is possible. Following that, they all board a boat and travel to their destination, the lighthouse. During this time, Lena notices a bruise on her left hand and assumes it is because of the fight with the crocodile. Lena discovers that they all have a terrible past, but she still refuses to tell them about her relationship with Kane. They make it to the past the Southern Reach headquarters before the Shimmer devoured it. The deeper they go, the more mutations they discover, much like tumors. They arrive at the base camp, where they find a memory card kept by the previous group. When they watch the video, they see Kane dissecting his own soldier's stomach. After dissecting him, they discover the soldier's swollen intestine moving like a snake. Later, they find out a soldier's upper body is separated from its lower one during their investigation. When everyone is sleeping at night, Lena is reminded of her husband's unusual behavior just before leaving for the mission. Lena wakes up and walks over to Ventress, standing guard outside. After seeing the video, Ventress tells her that concealing her relationship with Kane was a good idea. Lena inquires whether Kane said anything before leaving for the mission. Ventress indirectly implies that he might have some issues with the marriage or the relationship. Listening to this, Lena learns that her husband found out about her affair with Dan, her colleague, And that is why Kane decided to join the suicide mission. Lena feels terrible about her actions. Soon, they are alert because they hear some noise while talking. The rest of the team awakens and looks around. Meanwhile, a massive bear appears and kills Shepard. Roddick and Anya decide to return the next day because they are attacked twice. On the other hand, Ventress refuses to return and prepares to walk alone to the lighthouse. Lena also wants to reduce her guilt by continuing it, so she persuades Roddick and Anya not to back out. They all follow Ventress, and along the way, they come across Shepard's shoe. Lena then walks alone to find Shepard, assuming she is still alive. Lena notices two identical deers whose horns appear to be mutated with flowers a few moments later. She discovers Shepard's body after a short walk. Lena then returns to her team and informs them of the situation. After which they all then proceed to the lighthouse. They decide to stop and camp on the spot after a few hours. They discover plants shaped like humans in that location. Roddick solves the puzzle after observing these plants by claiming that the shimmer is a prism that refracts everything. According to Roddick, the shimmer refracts light and radio waves and refracts plant DNA, animal DNA, and all other DNA. She claims that this is the reason for crossbreeding and mutation between different species. What do you mean by all DNA? Anya inquires. Ventress responds by saying, human DNA. Following that, they all walk to a nearby house to spend the night. Anya becomes paranoid after noticing her fingerprint moving. Anya knocks Lena out and ties all three of her teammates to the chair while everyone is resting. Anya discovers Kane is Lena's husband, and believes Lena has been lying from the start. Anya decides to eliminate Lena out of frustration, but she hears Shepard's voice asking for help. Anya sprints towards the voice. All three of them who are tied, hear a roaring sound. Eventually, the same colossal bear appears and begins to circle them. They discover that Shepard's voice is coming from the same bear, due to Shepard's gene fusing with the bear's while eating her. The bear tries to eat Lena, but an injured Anya arrives and shoots the bear. The bear then attacks and kills Anya. Following this, the bear returns to Lena, but Roddick manages to untie herself and shoots the bear in the head, causing it to die. Ventress leaves for the lighthouse alone without wasting any time because she doesn't want to be a victim anymore. Roddick tells Lena the next day, Ventress wants to face it, you want to fight it, but I don't want either. Roddick, who appears to be mutated by plants, walks away after saying this. Lena pursues Roddick, attempting to stop her, but she soon becomes the plant. Lena walks alone towards the lighthouse and notices various skulls and skeletons outside. Lena then enters the lighthouse and discovers another skeleton. She finds a camcorder in front of the skeleton. Lena plays it out of curiosity and discovers her husband in it. Kane explains that he can no longer tolerate the mutation in his body. He then takes out a grenade, unpins it, and dies. As soon as Kane passes a duplicate Kane appears in the footage, and it seems that the entire conversation Kane is having is with his duplicate. Lena then discovers that the previous person she met was a duplicate. After all of this, Lena breaks down but continues on her mission. She then enters a tunnel in the lighthouse, where she encounters Ventress. Ventress claims that her energy source is within her, and that it is not like humans. Ventress also claims that she has no idea what it desires. Ventress then exhales the whole energy source, leaving a massive energy hole. Lena approaches the hole, and a drop of her blood falls into it. The energy is then transformed into a creature, taking the form of a human being. Out of fear, Lena fires at it, but it is unaffected. She escapes out of the tunnel, but the same creature teleports outside. Lena tries but fails to escape. After a while, Lena realizes that the creature is not harming her and is simply mirroring her actions. Lena has an idea and slowly picks up the grenade. She then hands the grenade over to the creature. Lena pulls out its pin and rushes out of the lighthouse, detonating the grenade. The creature appears unaffected by it, but its hand catches fire. Following this, the creature begins to touch everything in the lighthouse. It causes the lighthouse to burn along with all of its energy sources. The entire shimmer eventually fades away. The film resumes from the point in the investigation where the researcher realizes it was an alien. When the researcher asks what it wanted, Lena responds, it didn't want anything. She says that it only wanted to change things and create a new environment. Following this, the researcher reveals that Kane recovered on his own as soon as the shimmer vanished. Lena then visits Kane, who recognizes her, and they hug. The color of their eye lenses appears to be frequently changing, indicating that they are both mutated. To watch more movies recaps, just click on one of the movies on your screen and continue the show. Also, please subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help out the channel. Thanks for watching.